the position, long-term impact that can have, that the technology can have on life, etc. And even the way that it was tested in small, not small, but isolated industries, and tested before it is deployed to the civil world. Now it seems that civilian tech is, for the first time in history, evolving much faster than the technology that is provided by the former technology providers. And that brings the question, because most of the, I see that the word tech players is here, so I will use it. Most of the tech players today are not designed to think about this, to ask these long-term questions and all this ethics that is related to this. And so I just wanted to have your point of view on whether asking the question of the rhythm and pace of technology development seems relevant, or how can we, from an ecosystem perspective, maybe try to manage and reduce the risk that might be that might come with this new change. Thanks.
Cool. I'm going to take this because it's linked with the point that I was just raising, and the mic is geographically close to me, so I'm going to monopolize it. But that's the point, is you're not the first one, and it's a very good question that ecosystems are not asking, but you're not the first one that has been asking this question in the last 5 years. Are we doing this too fast? And the answer is yes, and it's based on the Silicon Valley way of doing things. And it's a massive risk, and it's the point I was trying to make about patient capital. So the reference you're making is how tech in the US was made. It will be a firm that was selected carefully, and the tech will go to the military and tested all these things we know today, drones and all of that, for years. And all the defects and the failures and all of that will be learned. And when it's safe for us to consume, it will then be commercialized through a firm we know as Microsoft or a firm we know as whatever else, right? That is not happening now. So it goes back to the fact that if we don't take a community approach or a hub-of-hub approach, it's going to be expensive for anyone to do this, any investor, any hub. And so obviously the commercial model is going to demand that but it's a huge issue.
Yeah, I did want to comment because I think your question gets to something I think it's important that we all remind ourselves of, right? There, especially from a VC perspective, you have high growth ventures, tech ventures, and I think in one way, AI and deep tech is maybe accelerating that chasm between that kind of venture and the other kind of foundational, small businesses that are out there, livelihood businesses. There's different ways to categorize them that are a big part of lots of ecosystems. And I think in some way we're seeing AI is perhaps enabling that digitization of some of the, let's say, more infrastructure-based businesses. And so I think it'll be interesting to continue to think from an investor perspective of then how are we looking at those with scale potential. And yeah, so I think we're at an interesting influx right now with the new tech.
Yeah, one of the really fascinating things is this whole new, we'll say, capability or job description of prompt engineers, right? How many of you are familiar with this term of prompt engineers, right? So basically, everybody's played around with ChatGPT. You go and you put in a prompt. It's just like a search tool, it's a search bar. But once you know how to ask the right questions and to put in the right prompts, this tool it's infinitely, capable. You can build yourself entire databases, entire websites, entire services, apps. They will generate all the code for you. So you no longer need to be doing the code yourself. You don't even have to know how to write code. You just have to know how to write the right prompts. And so that's a great opportunity to level the playing field. That you can learn to be a prompt engineer in a matter of a couple weeks, whereas coding might take you 6 months or a year. And so one of the things why we're trying to just really kick everybody into high gear is to say that if we start training at a very, very low cost, these prompt engineers, anybody, you don't even need like math skills or anything. You just need the right impetus. And if we can do that, then we can create this, I'll say army, but this force of Africans that are living, breathing, eating, sleeping these challenges, and have the tool to now go out and create their whole service, their whole app, the whole solution, without needing nearly so much funding, although of course we want that at the scale stage, but the solutions can actually be in the market very, very rapidly. And that's, I think, the hope for me, is that we really start to push for that almost at the groundswell level. And then all of these organizations that are up here can kick in and can support all of they can take it from there to the ideation stage, to the next levels, and ultimately up to the VC level. But yeah, so that maybe I'll just finish on that. Do we have time for any more questions? Or are we?
Sorry.
Okay, great. Okay, well then, can I please get a big round of applause for our amazing panel?
Bravo.
Thank you for all of the amazing work that you're doing for Tunisia. So, okay.
And thank you, Philip Kirchhoff, head of Startup Bootcamp. Do you know Startup Bootcamp? By raising hands. Who knows Startup Bootcamp? Who ever tried to get into Startup Bootcamp program? Yeah, I know why. There are 2,000 at least every year and only 10 places in Startup Bootcamp. But you should try. You get chances. He likes Tunisian startups, by the way. So now we are moving on with our pitching session for the challenge, for the HealthTech challenge. And I'm calling my jury, Farah from Dal VC, Dal. Also Nivesh Pater from Norscan 22 and Michael Muti from Launch Africa. What a jury! We can give a round of applause for our jury. Farah, Nivesh, Michael, there you go. AAIC are joining us. So, startups, are you ready? Snark Health, Tobba, Viventis. Starting with Snark Health, please. Do not wait for me to call you. Be prepared. We don't want to lose time on this. The clicker and the mic. You have a mic. Where did you go with the mic? Okay, starting with our first pitch, please. Right away. Are you ready?
Right, yeah.
Go.
A new way to pay for healthcare. We are combining data assets, digital assets, and neural networks. Hi, my name is Edwin, CTO and co-founder of Snark Health. And the problem we are really addressing is simple. The existing payment models, or how we pay for healthcare today, it's having both the patients and doctors. And a little bit of context, in Kenya alone, just 23% of the population have access to some form of healthcare insurance. That means governmental or private. And the ways we access healthcare is either fee-for-service, capitated payments, or bundled payments. And all these three models, what we are saying is they're simply shifting utilization and risk without a positive impact on financial health of patients and doctors. So Snark, we're building a platform that is connecting doctors and patients with a neural network for diagnostics and treatments. And our end goal really is to lower the cost of patients. And I'll journey you through it, how we do it. These are 4 ways: at-risk contracting, data monetization, liquidity providers, and health savings vehicle, which we're calling Hippocratic Coin. So at-risk contracting basically means a patient can see a doctor at $0 if the doctor or Snark Health goes at risk on the consultation fee. So that means the patient is not able to pay. And then how are we going to cover that payment is through our data monetization, which is important to note that we are also following all the regulatory and privacy compliance areas. And also, it's important the information is de-identified. And then another thing, it's also by consent. So if the patient and the doctor don't want to participate in that, that's still fine. They can use the platform as it is. liquidity provider can come in and fund X number of patients, and then when we make money through our data monetization model, they'll be able to recover their cash, and then our Hippocratic coin can be converted to local fiat to pay for healthcare expenses as needed. So our customer segments are spread into 4 layers: hospitals, payers, doctors, and patients, and our value proposition for each is simple: hospitals, additional revenue stream, and doctors, passive income. So the market potential is massive. Our starting market is Kenya, and we're addressing only about 70 to 80 million USD, but globally we're looking at 2 to 3 trillion USD. So we make money on in the traditional healthcare model. We make money by taking 9% on the transaction fees per consultation, and also we do revenue share with all the hospitals participating in our ecosystem. And then what we're calling the future healthcare, now the data monetization, depending who is the payer, we do a revenue split. And then lastly, our Hippocratic coin, which is, think of it as a reserve asset. So in competition, really what we see today is telemedicine companies. And to us, telemedicine is just a feature. It's not really solving the issue of cost. And then we have bundled payment conveners as well, but it's also not helping. So where we win is we're competing on fees, and we can go as low up to 0, and patients are paying less and doctors are earning more. So in my team, I'm leading the tech, and Hank, I met him 24 years ago, 18 plus years of experience, bringing in the health experience, and then Shomit is sitting on advisory. So today the product is already live. It's available on Play Store and USSD for folks who don't have internet connection in the low income areas. And just quickly on our traction, we've managed to work with 4,000 patients are onboarded, and we have at least over 100 patients consultations per week, and working with 300 specialists. And most importantly, in our partnership, Gulf Data, those are the guys who are helping us with packaging and creating the data products so that we can sell to our data customers. And then the way we plan to scale, we'll continue allocating the Hippocratic coin until we find a liquidity provider. I hope there's one in the room. And then that means now we'll be able to fund our reserve asset, and that can pay for more. We can have more funded patients. So yeah, so today we're asking 300K for 12 months runway, and that will go to scaling on our data acquisition, adding more hospital customers, because that's very important. That's why we'll be generating more data and operation expenses. So, so the time is right, and just to conclude is, of course, when you have the right team, right tech, and a new business model, then the future of healthcare is possible, and we can increase access and also help more patients afford healthcare. Thank you.
Do you have a mic? No. I can lend you mine. I'll get another one. 3 minutes for Q&A.
Thanks so much for the pitch, very interesting. Can you help explain how you go about acquisition on your two-sided marketplace, doctors as well as consumers?
Yes, okay, so for patients, okay, can't go back, but then, okay, so in terms of onboarding, sorry, I've messed up there. In terms of onboarding doctors, it's simple. For doctors, our value proposition for them, this is an additional revenue stream. You can work with more funded patients, and also you're going to earn more, especially for those participating in the data. And then the screening process is simple. We're working with their bodies, so we make sure we are dealing with highly vetted doctors. And then now for patients, we're telling you, you're seeing a highly specialized doctor at a very low fee. Of course, in exchange of your data, if you opt in. And most of the time they opt in because of, again, we're having a problem with insurance, and not everyone can afford even the basic insurance. So, I mean, I've been creating data since before I was born. So that means if someone's telling me this data is worth this X amount and it can actually cover my expenses, why not?
Thank you, Edwin, for the presentation. I just want to understand what kind of regulatory approval or licensing do you need? And like when you're scaling to the next country, how is this going to be dealt with?
Yes, okay, one thing to note is anything around data and privacy, and healthcare data is highly sensitive. So every geographical has its own issues, and the privacy and data is still young age. It was just like in Kenya, for example, it was enacted 2019. So you can imagine. But we worked with the office to make sure that we are following all the guidelines, and they always come every 6 months to check what we said and what we're doing is the same. So scaling to other countries, the challenge I see is the policies in the other geographical areas ready for that? And if not, what can we be doing in the meantime? Because eventually, right now it might look alien, but we're going to catch up soon because data is really controlling everything soon. Yeah.
Okay, and within Kenya, like, did you require any regulatory approval?
Yes. So we
also
sorry. Yes, we have the certificate called we are data processors. Yes. Sorry.
Thank you for your presentation. Also, I'm from Kenya.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. And one question. So you mentioned now, do you think why it is the best time to start this business here in Kenya and expand to other countries?
Yeah. So in 6 seconds, Kenya is ready. I mean, in terms of first of all, the issue of insurance coverage is still slow. And I had a chance to talk directly with President Ruto, and he said he's still struggling covering all the Kenyans, and he's not seeing it solving anytime soon. So I told him, hey, I have this, and he was like, that's interesting. If you get me more funded, patients, and you assure me that we can cover the national cover, then yeah. So the time is right, because the government is slower to cover everyone with the universal health care coverage. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So we move on with our next startup. This was Snark Health. Now we move on with Toba.
Hello, I'm Sumaya, sales manager of Tobba.tn. It's a telemedicine platform of the startup Kiplina. Specialists are hard to find, and if they are found, they are far away. So, Tobba addressed the major healthcare problem in Africa. Traveling is very expensive and tiring, and it's not accessible at all for old people or the most of patients. We have 2 services. The first service is a platform enabling patients to benefit from a remote consultation with the doctor, and it's already exists service in Europe and Middle East. But the second service is very innovative one. It's assisted teleconsultation in booths. The assisted teleconsultation in booths are managed with a nurse that works in booths dedicated and well equipped with connected medical devices. And we collect money for doctors, and this is very important for customer acquisition and retention. We manage appointment and video calls, instant messaging, and we collect, as I said, doctor fees. We manage payment, and in addition, Tobba supports an additional features for booths. It's nurse and booth management and wallet. Our target market is Africa. We are going to reach 750,000 doctors, 30,000 cities, and 1.3 billion of patients. Our business model is B2B2C. The patients aren't our customers, they are the customer of our customers. We build the doctor food for $2 and we build the booth for $5. We do have competitors, but we have a very distinction feature. It's assisted teleconsultation in booths. We have already more than 200 doctors onboarded, 4,000 patients, and we have 5 booths already running in Africa. Our partnership are hospital, academic, and we have a partnership for medical devices, connected medical devices. We have the first service is already run last year, and the first pilot in Mali. In 2023, we have 4 booths installed in other 4 countries. By 2024, we will have 8 countries reached for booths, and we will look for doctors in Morocco and Algeria in North Africa. We have very ambitious financial projection, multiplying by 9 our revenues in 2024, by 3 in 2025. Our break even, we will reach it in 2026. Our lifetime value is 5 times our acquisition costs customers, and we will concentrate in 20 countries by 2028. We have very experimental team of founders, Ahmed, Moaz, and Hude, with very success story achieved. We already invest more than $500,000, and we are raising $2 million. Thank you.
Thank you. Jury.
One question. Thank you very much for the great presentation. Recently, there are quite a number of telemedicine companies, and they provide us similar services in different ways. Do you think why you can compete with them? You are the best one to provide this kind of services. Is that team, passion, knowledge?
I didn't understand.
Sorry. What? How you can compete with other like similar startup companies? Like.
Do you want me to? Yes.
هاي سمية.
هاي.
كيف تقدروا تنافسوا مع الشركات الثانية اللي بتقدم نفس السيرفيس بالتليميديسن؟
I said that we have a very distinction feature that isn't already exists in Tunisia, is assisted teleconsultation in booths. We have remote teleconsultation in dedicated, well-equipped booths with connected medical devices in Africa, and this service isn't already exist for any of our competitors.
بس إذا الكومبيتيتورز تبعونكم عم بيعملوا نفس الإشي، إذا عملوا نفس الإشي، إيش رح يكون الأدفانتج أو إيش كيف تقدروا تنافسوا؟
We have also digital medical records for patients that we can share in the platform, and we are always innovating our product. We have also other features that we can add it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Can I ask my question in Arabic directly?
Yes.
As you
like.
بدي أسألك سمية، هلا أنتو you're covering Tunis, doctors are in Tunisia, right?
Yes.
But in other countries, it's just the booth in different countries.
Yes.
What's the regulatory approvals or licensing that you needed, يعني to operate in all of those countries, Mali, etc.?
We have a partnership with a partner there in Africa. And we need some features or devices that will be in the booths. And all the data of the patient is here in Tunisia.
بس سمية regulatory approvals يعني ما في إشي من الحكومة ما في عليكم license كان لازم تطلعوها بكل دولة عشان تقدروا تشتغلوا
Our partner take this in charge. Our just one, we need a label here for treatment data for patients, and we already have it.
So last question. Thank you. That was Toba. Last but not least for our pitch, Viventis. Viventis, whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Hi everyone. So my name is Mahdi Bouzouita. I'm one of the co-founder of Viventis. I'm a medical doctor. And the story of Viventis is quite simple. It came from a decade renting medical devices as a health service provider directly to the home of the patient. And from there, we took everything that it was not working with this type of devices. Everything that the patient complained of, which was, for example, like some device part really easily, there is lack of awareness and understanding about how this type of patient should use exactly these devices. There is also an oxygen flow who is not accurate. What I mean is to put it, to settle the flow, it is difficult for the patient themselves. There is also no data storage, which is really a shame because we have to ask the patient how are they using the device, which is not medical scientific data. We cannot do this type of things, and other type of problems came for the health service provider. So this is small companies that buy this type of devices and rent them. And there is always a need of urgent mobility for maintenance or in-person adjustment, especially for the flows of oxygen. There is no local available spare part, and the most important thing, there is an importation, total importation dependency. And we saw in COVID crisis that it has been a huge problem for us. So to solve this type of problem, we designed two products. The first is an oxygen concentrator, and the idea behind it is that it's smart, connected, so it can store the data, send it for remote monitoring for doctors. But the most important thing is it can connect directly to an oximeter, so then it can auto-adjust the flow of oxygen. So you don't need in-person anymore physician to come to the patient's house so they can adjust it. It does it totally automatically. The second product is our software. So the idea behind it is to display and to show the data directly to the doctor or to the health service providers. And we can also use it to help the patient with monitoring electronic patient records stored in it, the health service provider with finding their lost equipment, proactive maintenance, inventory management. Our roadmap, so we started the ideation in 2015 and the real work in 2019 by the first incubation program with Wiki Startups. And now after several milestones, we are in 2023 in partnership and collaboration with Actia, which is a hardware development company, an international one, and have a subsidiary here in Tunisia. And we also work with For Better Devices GmbH, which is a regulatory consulting company. So we are learning from the field directly how to certify this type of medical devices for an FDA point of view or even for a European point of view. Because we know that 80% of the medtech startup actually fail because of regulation. So we learned that by ourselves. Our objective now is to raise 750K. The idea is to power Viventis from a prototype to an industrial manufacturer in next year. So the cost will need like real-world data from clinical evaluation in order to complete the CE certification and also to hire a full team because it's a medical manufacturer, so we will need lots of people to help. The market size, we are targeting right now Tunisian markets and to go and grow into an African market and to reach the worldwide market, which is estimated at nearly $4 billion in 2020 and is estimated to reach $5 billion by 2030. So some financial opportunities for us. We estimated to have a revenue of 2,500K in the first year, so 2025, and to reach 2 million in 2,250K in 5 years. We are also having some traction and also starting negotiation for purchasing lots of oxygen concentrator for different actors of the market, especially nursing homes in Europe. Vision, so for now, so putting our oxygen concentrator into bringing and the data, analyzing it, and after that, and so the founders team, we are 6 of us. We have different backgrounds coming from medical, sales, commercial medical, also finance, tech, and we have advisors from different background, also law, medical regulation, design, and finance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can you help us understand if your software solution will only be able to be applied to your own oxygen concentrator, or will you be able to integrate with other hardware providers?
Okay, so the software solution can be put out there for health service providers because it manages their inventory, etc., etc. But to access the premium feature inside, so you can monitor from distance, you can see wherever the geolocalization of your device, where is it, you can record the data and everything, you need to have ours because it doesn't exist for now in the market. So you have to know that the device in the market, you have 2 types of oxygen concentrator. The portable one, which are for a specific case of medical problems, and we have the big one, who is used between 12 to 18 hours a day by this type of patient that have chronic diseases. So for now, what is happening in the market, it's like just archaic devices where you just like have a start, stop, and you change the flow, but there is no intelligence and there is no connectivity on the market right now.
Okay, thanks. And just last one, price comparison of your device that you're looking to build versus what's available in the market?
So for the price comparison, we are at the same rate as the European or American devices. The oxygen concentrator, we are more expensive than the Asian devices, Chinese or Korean devices that are really cheap, but we offer new feature, and this is why we have innovation also inside.
Great, thank you, Mehdi.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask something a little bit more detailed about your cost and price.
Yes.
So when you say your pricing is similar, can you give me a range? Like,
yes.
What's the range for the price that you expect? And what do you expect for the cost to be for the production of your devices?
Yes. So the range of selling that we are expecting is between $750 US to $1,000 US, which is almost similar than what you can find out there for American or European markets. And you asked me, sorry, the second question. I'm really sorry.
Cost.
So the cost is we are now actually doing a design to cost, and so our industrial cost should be not more than $300, which we think we are there.
Okay, so we're talking about like around 70% profit margin.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, great. Do you have questions?
Among the competitors globally, why you can be more innovative than other, like including big players?
Yes. So we have a lot of competitors and a lot of big players, and what we want to add is, first of all, innovation. Second of all, we are targeting an African market, which they are not really. They are more targeting a global market, so we can fine-tune the design for our market. And I can answer you after if you want more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This was our last speech. Thank you, jury. That was Viventis. Thank you again, all our jury. Now we move on with our next panel. We still have a few seconds, but I'm going to call them so we can move on with our program. Women in Tech, discussion with the moderator. I'm calling my moderator first, Sobia Khan from Amazon Web Services. Thank you, Sobia, for joining us. We have Wafat Rifi from Pixie Motors. We have Eta's neighbor. We have also Ahmed Hadri from Beta Cube and Jordi Beni from Octora Capital. Rita, yeah, there you go. Thank you, jury. Thank you again. So bien. We should start and we'll be joined. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can start. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would like to welcome Geeta and Jordi for making the time at this panel. So today we're going to be talking about women in tech and the challenges that they face. Just for clarification, Geeta is from Callis Ventures. She's a managing partner. So we're very sorry for that mistake, but yeah, and let's get started. So I'm going to start with a super generic question, but I think it's very important that we highlight what VCs and women founders basically face in the African ecosystem. So I would want you to highlight some of the unique challenges that as VCs you're facing, as well as what other, let's say, women founders are facing, and what kind of role can investors actually play in the ecosystem, making sure that they, removing any obstacles that they encounter. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can start. Yeah, so I've heard that you have a good use case to talk about. I don't have any woman-led startup in my portfolio, but when we started investing, so I represent a Moroccan VC fund, and the name of the fund is Callis Ventures. And for those who might recognize what Callis means, it means like it's a goddess. And so we were supposed to invest in African women. And then when we started investigating the market, we just figured out that we didn't have enough deal flow to invest in. And as our LPs weren't DFIs, so we had to more focus on the returns than on impact that we could have by investing in very early stage startups led by women. So yeah, the first point is that, I think that from what I have seen, of course, there are some startups that are fantastic, doing incredible work, and that are led by women founders who were able to make it until like seed stage, Series A, and above. But there are also others that were more shy at the beginning. So, for example, I had some use cases where I was meeting, like, for example, men, like startups led by men or startups led by women at the same time, and they were at the same stage in terms of in terms of project, but the men called the day after saying, hey, we know that it's just an idea, but we think that it's the right time for us to fundraise, and we're ready to do it, and that's our plan, and we were willing to take the risk. When the women, and that's a real use case that I'm giving, they just called me the day after saying, hey, you know what, we think that we should maybe wait a little bit, generate more revenues, and do more before finding before raising. So I think that the first point for me is women entrepreneurs, from what I've seen, need to be more confident about their fundraising, and that's normal. Whether men or women both have that problem at the beginning of their journey. They both lack of confidence, let's say. They are at the same stage. I'm not saying that women are less confident, but it's just that at a certain level, I think that men, for certain reasons, are able to be more confident about what they are making than women. That's the first statement, and we can talk after about other use cases that I have seen and that have succeeded as women-led startups.
I think that's an excellent point that you've raised. I think as women, we really do tend to do a disservice to ourselves where we're not very confident. Although a lot of the startups that I'm meeting, which are women-led, are actually impacting on a social level, and they have excellent ideas. So they're really identifying opportunities in the market and coming up with very innovative ideas. And so I would want to take that point that you've raised and then actually ask Jordi that how are you then identifying and supporting promising women-led startups in the African ecosystem? Since you've invested in 14 startups since 2021, I would love to know, I think all of us would love to know a success case and how you were able to get them to where they are now. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question. And perhaps to start, my name is Jordi. I'm Senior Investment Associate at Octera Capital, which is a female-led fund based in Lagos, out of Nigeria. So we are an early stage VC fund investing from the pre-seed to the Series A. Perhaps just taking also a little bit about what Rita said, is that I want also to speak about the bias that we think that we have. A lot of people are saying that there is not enough pipeline. I can say that it's not true. Out of all the pitch deck that we received, 1/3 of them are from female-led or co-led startups, so we cannot hide between that, saying that there is no pipeline. The other one that we are still and we still need to fight is, of course, like we all have subjective bias around it, so it also things that we need to fight. It's very funny because when we start, let's say, investing in companies, we are selecting the best founders, and it seems that when we start to invest, we just realize one day that we invested in 5 startups that were led, not co-led, by female. We also start to look a little bit more at the pipeline and the deal flow that we're receiving, and also at the fact that, you know, we do think that we need to be more intentional about it. So it's really about being intentional about it. It's also, and to be honest, it's also, so I have a background in risk management, and it's proved that women are much more better at managing money and better at governance. So I will say on this also, I'm trying to de-risk the investment. But I will say that there is a lot of success stories, a lot, like speaking just about Nigeria, so I will speak perhaps about one of our portfolio companies. So it's a HealthTech company. So the job of this company is to digitalize the value chain of the hospitals. So also digitalize the value chain, but also taking care of the delivery of blood and oxygens. So it's really a structural problem, and a problem that exists everywhere in the continent. It's a very successful startup, to be honest. I remember that, and it's a little bit sad, but we had like some, like a train accident in Nigeria. I believe it's 1 year ago. They were the startup that took care of everything on the operations, so blood delivery and everything. This is the type of success story that we want a little bit more. We want a little bit more people to see that it exists, and that even though I don't think that we miss female founders, it's just that we don't have enough, let's say, startups led by female, because we are in Africa, so it's much more women that are entrepreneurs. So we need to push that a little bit and to be also very intentional about it.
Yeah, I think you know, really great answer in terms of, you know, how as we go out into the work environment, we do face with a lot of subjective bias. And I really like the point that you raised in terms of women need to be placed more in leadership roles, and that we have to push them and encourage them to you know, bring their idea up front, and how we could essentially mentor them as well, because I think that's lacking a lot in the ecosystem. And so maybe a question that we could then bring in that case is, for instance, you know, what strategies can women entrepreneurs employ to even attract investment and even build strong relationships with the investors in the ecosystem? I would love to know more about that.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. Actually, I was stuck in the traffic just behind the venue. And I just discovered that I can start a career of policeman, because trust me, if I didn't solve it, I would stay for 1 hour long. So sorry for the delay. Actually, my name is Ahmed. I'm head of programs within BetaCube. BetaCube is a venture studio that was launched in Tunisia in 2020, but became Pan-African in just 2 years after launch. So what is a venture studio? Is an organization that supports idea stage entrepreneurs. We support them by giving them access to full-time people who are tech, designers, tech people, experts in finance, legal, etc. And we support them in a program of 12 months until they reach product market fit. So we proved our concept in Tunisia through a pipeline of 12 startups. One of them actually is Pixie Motors, and Wafe was one of our founders that we supported. And then we started our operation in Sub-Saharan Africa by launching a program that is called Take African Women, actually. It's called TAO, and it's targeting female-led startups in Africa. Mainly, we started with Tunisia, Ethiopia, Senegal, and Tanzania. We supported 74 women founders in these countries at the stage. We supported them through a 4-month program until they reached investment readiness stage, in which they have developed their MVP, their market. They validated the market, and now they are. We also supported them with some funding that allowed them to go to the next level. And this program was actually supported by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. So to go back to your question regarding the strategies and let's say what we can do to support female entrepreneurship, from our experience, actually, we noticed that women founders are more concerned about women problems than other startups who are maybe launched by mixed or by men-led startups. For example, when you look at our pipeline of startups that we supported in Sub-Saharan Africa, we find a lot of health tech, you find a lot of education, and you find a lot of ideas around child care, babysitting, sexual and health, reproduction, support, and these kind of ideas. However, when you look at other, maybe our experience in supporting mixed startups, generally we found that the ideas are more business oriented or maybe market oriented than focused on female entrepreneurship. So actually this is not only our female oriented program, we have several female oriented programs, and even for the other programs that are open, we tend to apply a 50% let's say representation of both gender. Of course, quality comes first and then gender. We are not, I would like to say that we are not guaranteeing the presence of men, women or male, but what we are trying to do is be sure that the startup applies to the quality that we have, and then we try to do a mix of gender. Regarding the strategies, I mean, DFIs maybe play here a big role in supporting female fund managers who are female, because statistics show that when female are represented in the decision-making positions, they tend to attract more women as entrepreneurs, and also they tend to invest more money in female-led startups than male-led startups. So this is something that we can do to support female entrepreneurship. The second thing is to launch more female-led program, female-led funds, to include more diversity when recruiting, because also sometimes the selection of the entrepreneurs or of the founders that is done by the associate or by the investment managers, it differs if that person is a woman or a man. I mean, a woman sometimes attracts more female founders than a man, and sometimes when you present or when we are doing the due diligence, maybe the fact that you don't have a bias, a gender bias, or you are having a gender lens investment in your eyes, I mean, this facilitates a lot the process of decision, and this also guarantees that there are more women in the pipeline. Statistics also show that 16% only of female entrepreneurship, let's say in Africa, 16% only are startups led by women. So it is low, and only 15% of the funding gets to, or 16% also go to startups that are led by women only. So I would leave the floor to my colleagues also to answer.
Do you want to add something?
No.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for sharing with us like what the incubator does and all the efforts that are made by you to support women in the ecosystem. And I think that this probably has an impact, because I've seen lots of startups made and here in Tunisia that were led by women. So that's great. Coming back to what Jordi said, yeah, I agree with you, Jordi, that there are women out there, like the deal flow exists, but again, is it a qualitative deal flow that reflects? I mean, are we talking about SMEs or about startups? Because I know that the African continent has the highest rate of women entrepreneurs in the world, but most of them are SMEs, and so the problem isn't having women that can, decide to be entrepreneurs instead of working as employees. I think that they have the willingness and they have the power to stand and start an entrepreneurial journey. But I think that sometimes they lack of resources to convert from an SME to a tech startup. And I think that this brings us to today's topic, which is women in tech. And I think that if we can have more women that are trained in technology, this will give them enough resources to not only have great ideas for impact. For example, we see a lot of women working to help craftsmen, working to help, to solve some climate problems that we have today. But if they have the skills and necessary skills to make it happen, I think that we will see more startups in tech than today. I mean, women in tech, sorry, than today. And yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, firstly, thank you, Ahmed, for bringing up the fact that you have programs, right, to upscale women. And I think that's a very important point that Geeta mentioned about the fact that women, a lot of the women that we're seeing do have the background, but they just don't have the necessary access to get what they want, and we need to bridge that gap. And so, leading into that a lot more, how could then the three actually collaborate, right? So there's investors, there's obviously startups, and there's also for basically other types of stakeholders. How can those three collaborate? How can we make a triage in such a way that we can bridge the gap? Yeah.
Well, that's a very good question, because I believe that there is a lot of, let's say, way of doing that. First is to my colleague VCs hire more women. I will give you an example. I'm currently looking for an intern, and perhaps, I mean, it was like 50-50. It was not even on purpose, like on the interviews that I did. But out of them, I believe 4 out of 5 spoke to me about the fact that we are a women-led fund. And I know that it counts to have like role model and people that you can see and identify to. So first, I will encourage people to perhaps also hire a little bit more women in their fund. Secondly is to invest more, and I don't agree, Hamed, with what you said. I mean, in our portfolio, for example, we have a company that designed a sandbox for fintechs and central banks. It's led when fund. We have a company in logistics that it's a woman CEO. So it's not really, I don't think that it's either white or either black in that case. And perhaps also the last part is to be part of much more initiatives and trying to really bring a little bit more education and knowledge. And I believe that this is not just only the job of VCs, it's the job also of the different, let's say, stakeholders to do that. So of course there is like mentorship, there is grant, there is different things that we can do so that we can be in a position to say that, okay, now it's 50-50 deal flow that we have, and we also have very solid tech female founders. So we'll see the truth if it's a problem of pipeline or if just people that are not intentional about it.
And to add something, maybe like, because as you know, like we all need role models, men or women. And so when you find startups that succeeded, led by women, these women like have as an obligation, let's say, to also be role models for upcoming startups led by women, so that they can know that it's possible, you know, like they can see that even if they are like African women operating in a very complicated ecosystem, sometimes that is led by men, they can do it. They can be the ones hiring men, working with them. They can be the ones collaborating with them. So I think that we need more success stories led by women that exist. We have some in Morocco and others in the rest of Africa. And I think that these women should be aware about the fact that other women need them to be role models for them.
Absolutely. I think that's why it's very important that Jordi shared his success story, because everyone here can be inspired by it, can learn more that, okay, if women have done this, I can do that as well. And definitely we need role models. That's something that we really lack. And so I think we're out of time, or we still have time? Yep, and so Ahmed wants to add more.
I just want to clarify something. Maybe I was misunderstood. Actually, what I meant is that according to our experience, women founders are more concerned about solving women problems through technology or through entrepreneurship more than men. I'm not saying that women are avoiding or not innovating or are not creating startups in logistics or fintech. No, actually in our pipeline we have a fintech startup that was launched by a Tunisian woman who had more than 20 years experience at Société Générale in Paris, and she came back to Tunisia, and we supported her launch her fintech startup. It does reconciliation for asset managers. We have also another startup, agri-tech startup founded by women. Wafé is a leading startup with another man in electric technology. So I don't mean that they don't do this, but I mean it's very rare that you find a startup around childcare or babysitting or sexual and health reproduction that is launched by a man alone. This is very rare, and according to our experience also this is very rare. This is what I wanted to add.
No worries. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. So perfect. I also want to leave the floor a little bit open for the audience to take questions. But before we hand the mic, and if there's anybody asking questions, we'll give you a mic. I want to end from you guys. Like finally, like what advice would you really give to aspiring women entrepreneurs, as we have something coming up in a bit, that are looking to launch or scale their startups in the African ecosystem? What advice would you give them?
Oh, okay. The advice first is to not think that. As an investor, I can see that there are problems for all entrepreneurs, not just for women. So they should understand that the problems that they face are not related to the fact that they are women. The problems that they face are just related to the fact that they are entrepreneurs, and that they should be more open to talk, like to just come and talk to investors. Maybe it's not the right time, but that's fine. I mean, that's how you understand what we expect from you, and what are the milestones that you should reach, and what's the vision that you should have, just like a man do when he's in his early stages. So just come and talk to investors. Maybe not to invest now, and that's fine. We just want to discuss and talk. So just be less shy and try for more. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Actually, I totally agree with Rita that women entrepreneurs' challenges is, the same as entrepreneurs in general. And actually, I saw a statistic that was shared by WAMDA, asking women entrepreneurs specifically about their challenges, and top one challenge is raising funds. It's the same thing for any entrepreneur, either male or female. So maybe also I would like to share something maybe also from our experiences, that when we're talking with many female entrepreneurs and asking them why they don't take initiative, many of them say that they have a fear of work-life balance, because in our society, let's say women have more jobs than men. There is a job at home and there is a job outside. However, men, unfortunately, they are not having enough, are not investing enough jobs in the at home, let's say. So they have the fear of not succeeding between both things, and finally they drop out the professional or the, let's say, the entrepreneurship side for the personal and the family side. So this is something that we should focus on, maybe by promoting more role models as women who succeeded to do this, And for female entrepreneurs who would like to start something, you should talk to female leaders who succeeded to do something from scratch and who succeeded to reach work-life balance with a good mental health management, etc. At that time, you can maybe be inspired and more encouraged and motivated to learn something from scratch.
Fully agree with what you said. So I feel a little bit bad to give them advice because I'm not a woman. But now I will say that I fully agree with what you said, that perhaps being a little bit more vocal, catching also some information about success stories and so on. And this one, it's much more about, I believe that it will be easier for women to succeed if men try to break a little bit the bias that we have, and trying also to, I will not say help them, but not block them, like not being obstacle of this. So I believe that it's something that we men should do a little bit more to improve diversity. And I mean, diversity is always something that is good and that will enhance and improve financial result, but not only. So this is something that I will add also.
So firstly, lovely answers. I think it's absolutely correct. So we have to be more confident. We need to understand how to get out of that fear of work-life balance, build a better support system, get inspiration from female leaders. And we need also men to basically unblock and work together, because we're all trying to solve the same problems. So before we go, yeah, I just wanted to know if anybody had a question in the audience. And if yes, please give the mic.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for the panel. This is my first time in Tunisia, and I feel like I've seen a lot more female founders here. I know not everyone on the panel is from Tunisia, but why do you think that is the case here? I'm assuming maybe from an education perspective, really highly educated population, including females.
Thank you for the question and welcome to Tunisia. I hope you are enjoying it, actually. Very good question. Actually, the roots of this is social and political, let's say. So after the independence, we had a leader who, let's say, was giving or trying, and he succeeded, of course, at the end, to put diversity at the table and to do equality between men and women. And so from that time, I mean, of course, through several years, but I mean, when you do at the when you look at the labor market, you find that there is equality between men and women in Tunisia. When you look at schools, you maybe find more women pupils or more students, women students more than men. So this is something that is already existing in our societies. We have a lot of powerful female organizations that have their votes, and they are very represented in society and politically. So these are the roots. So of course, at the end, you would find this representation on the entrepreneurship side. And actually, we had the first female head of government in the MENA region, or in the Arab world. Any other question, maybe from Wasim?
No, thank you. Thank you. Is that it? Okay. Okay, so we're moving on with our last part of the program, the pitching session. We are starting with Dev Square. I'm calling Kansobia. You're gonna stay with us in the jury. You're not going nowhere. David Nicholas from Amazon also, and Jordi Kanjeo from Octera Capital. Jordi? Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes, perfect student. Dev Square, are you ready? Yes. Dev Square, please.
Do we start or do we wait for the...
There you go.
Perfect.
The floor is yours, 5 minutes.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Nourliman Nasfi, CMO and co-founder of DevSquare. I will be assisted by Adaf Boubakri, our business developer. He will be pitching with me in sign language. So, let's just see if this works. Come on. Oh, great, okay. So deaf people have high intellectual potential, yet 98.7% of them find themselves having to work in manual labor jobs, not by choice, but by obligation. The lives of these people might be hard in terms of access to quality education and job opportunities in leading industries, which leads us to their problem. Hold on, there we go. So they face learning barriers when put with hearing people in schools and training centers due to a lack of sign language interpretation and a lack of captioned media and written materials. There is also a limited access to job opportunities due to discrimination and stigma. And a lack of support from society. They are quite the isolated and unheard community. This community is composed of 500 million people worldwide, with 136 million in Africa, which represents a huge market opportunity for us. A market of $6 billion, but we will be focusing on a market of $300 million of deaf people from African associations. So at DevSquare, we have created a solution that has 3 core services: a learning hub, a community space, and a career mentoring center. So our product has online courses delivered in sign language. Once our students graduate, they get soft skills and mentoring sessions, and then they are matched with jobs offered from deaf-friendly companies that we have partnered with. Alongside all of this, they will have access to the community space where they can connect with other deaf people and share experiences. Our product also has an AI-based virtual trainer that masters sign language. This will help ensure a more seamless experience for our students. So, our business model has three main revenue streams. The first plan is free. You can get non-certifying educational content and access to the community space. We will be generating revenue through directed ads for this plan. For $5 a month, you can get the same features as the free plan, plus access to weekly online events and workshops and recordings of those events. Now, for our courses, there's a tuition fee. You can either get charged per program or per course, and there's a possibility of sponsorships or scholarships. So of course, we're driven to impact the lives of these people. So we are aiming to achieve 3 SDGs: reduce inequalities, quality education, and decent job and economic growth. Now we have one main advantage over our competitors. Our courses are delivered exclusively in sign language and are adapted to the way of learning of the deaf and hard of hearing. So, a few achievements we've had so far. We've managed to win 2 prizes, including the first prize with the Founder Institute Acceleration Program and the Audience Prize with Impact Partner. And in less than 6 months, can we please go back? There we go. We have had 25 partnerships with deaf associations all over Africa, France, and Canada, as well as, and I'm very happy to announce this, this is just a new information. We have partners with UXers, which will be developing our UX UI part of the product. We also have hiring partners. Most of them are currently in Tunisia. And we're aiming to raise awareness on our social media. So by the end of Q3 of 2023, we will be launching our MVP and starting our beta test courses. And then we're hoping that by the end of 2024, we will be expanding to more countries in Africa. During 2026, we will be beta testing and then by the end of the year launching our AI virtual trainers that will be training in American Sign Language and French Sign Language. Our team is composed of Sonia Nasfi, our CEO, she's an IT engineer, myself, a psychology student and digital marketer, and Atif Bakri, who is actually a non-hearing, a hard of hearing person. We're also supported by 2 PhD holders who have PhDs in artificial intelligence, who of which one is a deaf woman. She's the first deaf person to have a PhD in the MENA region. We're aiming to raise 300,000 dinars. And we are Deaf Square, defending deaf people's rights, the right to choose their future. Thank you.
Okay, Jory.
Thank you for that fantastic presentation, and I think we should have more presentations with assisted sign language. My question is more about the product that you're selling, which is the course. I know that right now you're doing an MVP, so what is the course like focused on, and like how is that going to be developed? So for instance, are you working with let's say teaching experts, or are you developing the courses by yourself? Like, I'm more curious about that.
Well, for the courses, our courses are mainly going to be in the IT fields. So we will be partnering with coding schools to give us the course material. So right now we are employing human trainers. For now we have 2 trainers, 2 are deaf, so they will be delivering it in sign language, and they are experts in their fields. But yeah, it's gonna be a mix of the courses that already exist, and then the input of our human trainers for now, that will be adapting it to the way that deaf people are able to learn.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it's very, very interesting. It's solving also a structural problem, so I'm very big fan of it. I saw your expansion plan, the different countries that you are targeting. Is there a specific reason why? Because I believe that this is something that is country agnostic, so I can see the vision of Deaf Square being in the US, in Europe also, so just wondering why Mauritania, Algeria.
So the reason why we chose Africa as a first market is because, well, it is kind of like the nearest for us, and we already have contacts in different African countries with deaf associations. Actually, in November, our business developer manager went to South Africa to a conference of deaf associations, and we've pitched the idea for them, and they're very excited. So we're learning about the African market, and we already have customers who are willing to take our product. But Europe and the Americas are definitely on our long-term vision. Yeah, considering there's a high population in Africa and it's closer, so we're going there first.
Thank you for the great presentation. I have a question regarding the courses themselves. You engaged to a course, you successfully passed the course. Is there any certificate or diploma, maybe in conjunction with a university local, if you're targeting Africa?
So our certifications are going to be with the coding schools that already have certifications that are recognized by governments and universities, but we are also aiming to partner with universities that offer online courses or courses in IT and integrate them within our platform. But yes, all certifications will be recognized by any employer, any government.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Well done, Deaf Square. Next up on the pitching track, we've got Amos.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about AMIS Research, which is a startup created since 5 months. And the first project of this startup is AMIS, an antibody against breast cancer. Doesn't work. Okay. As you know, breast cancer is 2.3 million new cases per year, and among them we have 3,000 and 300,000 of aggressive form that occur in young women. And these cases do not currently benefit from a specific treatment. So our goal is to support international pharmaceutical companies to offer a new product that improves the treatment of these aggressive tumors and allows pregnancy after treatment for these young women. Our solution is a therapeutic antibody that targets and kills breast tumor in young women with efficacy, and this target has unique features since it's not expressed on any normal cell, so few side effects of the treatment will be expected. So we have produced this monoclonal antibody and tested it on in vitro on tumor cell line. We have shown that we have it kill these line and inhibit the migration of the cells totally. And this is against metastasis. And we tested this antibody in routine laboratories and under the hands of specialists in anatomopathology. And we have shown in Sal Hazais Institute that is specialized in cancer. And in the biggest hospital in Tunisia is Charles Lecol Hospitals. In both hospitals we have shown that our antibody recognizes half breast tumors. Now we are at the stage of prototyping, sequencing this antibody and make it humanized and have the proof of concept in vivo on animals. The market, as you know, is very important, and we are expecting about 100,000 new cases per year that could be treated by this antibody. Our competitor, this is very important. We have only one company that target our molecule. We do not have therapeutical antibody targeting our molecule. The only competitor is in US, but we have not the same strategy. We are targeting the same molecule, but different age group. Our competitor target women after menopause with a vaccine. But this strategy does not allow pregnancy because it induces autoimmunity. And our strategy is the treatment of young patients with breast cancer with this antibody, and this would allow pregnancy after treatment. So we are at the stage of prototyping, and then after prototyping, we want to sell this antibody to a pharmaceutical company that will produce it under license. At this stage, we need for this prototyping $200,000 and to have the prototype and also the international patent. But on the other hand, AMIS Research has other products in the pipe and other services in genomics, and nutrigenetics. So, thank you. This is the team.
Very critical. Okay. Thank you very much. I have a question concerning the, and I completely see the exit path, I will say. You spoke about like, why not selling or licensing your solution after that to different pharmaceutical actors? Are you already in touch with them? Do you know the type of pharmaceutical firm that will be interested by this product? Because it's
yes. In fact, we get in touch with some of pharmaceutical company. One of them is in France, in Marseille, and they recommended us to develop our antibody not in Tunisia but in a platform that is dedicated for monoclonal antibodies, and we get in touch with two of them, and the service is really of good level, and what we expect from this work. And our aim maybe would be to sell our antibody to our competitor, because it would be a complete package for this molecule.
Yeah, thank you so much for that presentation. My question is, maybe could you talk about the antibody and what stage of the cancer does it target? Does it do it at early stage or a little bit later stage? Like, that's what I'm more interested about.
So this not maybe at early stage. It could be used, as even before surgery. It could be, and it could be injected within the tumor itself. And this is an option, but it could be also used for the after surgery, and only to make as we are using now, for example, Herceptin, another monoclonal antibody targeting another molecule and another form of cancer, or for example, hormonal treatment for other form of breast cancer. But what we want to say that we target really young women, because even we have a lot of young women, for example, in North Africa, that have cancer before 35. So, even for this, even if you can have hormonal treatment, this hormonal treatment is not recommended, and this is an alternative treatment for these women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're out of time.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amos. Let's give her a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, next up on the line, we've got Sokari. Let's please give her a round of applause as she approaches the stage. I know it's been a very long day, ladies and gentlemen. It's been extremely long days. Also, just give yourself a round of applause for being such an incredible veteran, for staying through till the end, and really supporting, pushing the needle of women founders in the Pan-African ecosystem.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I want just to ask you if you know 1 in 5 people in the world has diabetes and he don't know. And in Tunisia, we have 1 in 3 people has diabetes and he don't know. So for me, it began when the doctor told me that my daughter had diabetes. So I remember well, I came back home with an 8-year-old girl and with 2 pens, 1 before meals and 1 for the night. Really, I have no idea about this disease and how I can manage this new situation for me and for her. But I'm teacher, so in school, the diabetic students have the same problems as me. They can't be with the normal blood sugar all the time. They can't be in the target all the time. So after my experience, my therapy, the one and the only solution for them is the nutrition. For that, I decided to create Sukari. Sukari, it's a fun and educational mobile application designed for diabetic children and adolescents to provide food coaching and scoring in different Tunisian, Maghrebian, Mediterranean specialty is using AI. So in Sukari, we find a self-monitoring when the patient or the children makes his finger blood sugar, his units, and he finds a food database. Also, we have a graphic visualization. Why not? You can receive an award to encourage them. But this food database helps the children or the patient to determine the composition of his meals. Also, with the AI can take a photo. But this composition will be controlled with the fun mascot in terms of glycemic index and the quantity of carbohydrates. This is more important things for them. So we have a breakfast example. This is a high quantity of carbohydrates. So for the child 5 or 6 years, for that the mascot will be angry. So we will give advices to better improve his food choice. But finally, I'm not just talking about my daughter or students, I'm talking about more than 540 million diabetic around the world. And 10% of them are type 1 and take insulin. So this is very dangerous. In Tunisia, will be in 2027, the quarter of the population are diabetics. For that, we find many applications like One Drop, Diabete Gourmand, My Sugar. But in Sukari, we find food database, the animation, gamification, the self-monitoring, and multi-language. So you can ask me how Sukari can get money. It's a paid application with subscription, and we have the premium version. We are going to talk about psychological coaching and nutritional monitoring. It's a support to support them. Why not to reach more than 500 users after 3 years? We are a motivated team, me, CEO, CTO, and the nutritionist. So thank you. But finally, I want to say, for the diabetics, it's very, very hard to be with a normal blood sugar, especially type 1. For that, always I say, for the diabetics, it's manual labor in place of the pancreas. And thank you so much.
Let's open the floor to our jury.
All right. Thank you very much for your very informative presentation. So I understand that your goal is for diabetic people.
Yes.
How does that compare to the part of the population that is obese? Can there be a parallel between obesity and diabetes? And if yes, can the application address both?
Okay. So this application is designed for the type 1, the person who take insulin. This is not about obesity or not. This is suddenly, okay, the pancreas stop to provide the insulin. But we have a part of type 2 diabetics. For that, it's easy for them. We're talking about nutrition with 5 clicks, so we can find his meals and the score of his meals. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was very lovely. And my question would be around the AI that you're using.
Yes.
More interested about how you're essentially, let's say, training the model. How are you collecting the data?
Yes. The first, we will using AI to take a photo of the image, And after also we can use it, AI, to make choice of meals, of recipe. That's it, to help them. We have many disease like celiac, like people loves vegan vegetable. So for that we have 4 parts in this application in the menu. Sorry, I can show you. I don't know. So we have graphic visualization. We have advices, the zone of injection, okay, and we have the recipe. This is more important things for them. Voila. Sorry for these things.
Okay, we are French speaker also, it's okay. Quick question about like the go-to-market strategy, because I believe that on this, doctors and professionals can be very helpful for you, especially if you are targeting also kids. How do you intend to do it?
Our first time we are going to talk with diabetologists and the Minister of Health and Education. This is the first time. And after we are going to in zone South Africa, because almost we eat the same foods, so it's easy for us. After we are in early stage, we are a phase of proof of concept. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sokari.
Merci. Sokari, it's mean my sugar.
Yeah, so it means my sugar, just in case anybody was wondering for the translation. So last but not least on the list for today, we have the amazing Amal Abid from Blasa.
$100 million packages fail to get delivered in MENA every single month. Unreliable addresses, back and forth calls with drivers, missed delivery windows. As aggravating as that is for shoppers like us, businesses lose $10 billion in undelivered package expenses every single year. And even worse, 84% of their consumers will not make a